My name is Tim Nagle and I am a DOP slashy editor, I don't know, yeah. How did I get to where I am now? I started out doing skateboard videos back when I was like 14, younger probably, and just hanging out with skateboarders and just making videos and skateboarding. I think I saw someone editing one day and I was like, oh, what's that? And he was like, oh, you can edit videos together, you can cut and chop. Like I never learned on VHS or anything like that, but that's how I kind of got into editing and filming, and I was like, oh, well, I probably need a good camera to edit with, so I went and got like I think I saved up for ages and got a little handycam, and that was pretty cool. Got a handycam and made some more skate videos, got a fisheye, got a sweet fisheye. I've always been like mucking around with videos and trying new things and making like little video clips and for music for bands and stuff, and I did like a course did like a multimedia design degree and did that, and that was cool. Did a bit more video stuff there, and then got into doing, I don't know, I just always just like mucked around with video and like film and stuff like that, and then I've worked for a few companies doing a lot of their video stuff, and then I met Kia, Roache-Turner, a couple of years back in 2010. In 2010 I met Kia, Roache-Turner, and then we got to know each other, and I was doing some video stuff with him, and then he said, oh, do you want to shoot a zombie film? So the zombie film is called Wyrmwood. It's a post-apocalyptic feature film, and it's kind of like Mad Max crossed with Shaun of the Dead, maybe Dawn of the Dead. For me, Wyrmwood started back when I was shooting some stuff with Kia. We were over in the States and we're shooting, I don't know, we're just shooting something, like it was like a little promo for something or the other, and we were just hanging out, and he told me, he's like, hey, do you want to shoot this feature? And I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe, because I was a bit nervous about it because it was like a horror film, and like, which is a bit scary for me, but I was like, oh, well, yeah, it could be awesome. And so it started out really small, and he like kind of was like telling me about the process as we were going, and he got together a whole makeup crew, he got together a whole team of like some stunt people, he got a whole team of, you know, people just to do catering, and all these people, he put them all together, and it started off like actually small. I think people didn't jump on board straight away, but there was a small crew of us at the start, and we shot like 3 days in the Blue Mountains, and we did like the trailer, which we were going to put as a scene, but I think, yeah, we did. So we did the trailer just to see if it would work, basically, and it was pretty awesome. It was really hard. We shot like pretty big days, and then it cut together, and it was like awesome. So that was how it started, and that was like, I think almost like 3 years ago now. So a bit over 3 years ago.
What did you shoot that trailer
on? We shot that on a 5D with 2 lenses. We had a 24mm lens and like a 1.2 stop 24mm lens and a 50mm. That's all we had. In terms of grip equipment, dollies and things like that, I didn't really know about that stuff when I started. I just had like, we shot that all handheld basically. It was kind of like this rig I had. It looked like this. You kind of just, it was like, I had this pole that went to my waist to stabilize it, and then I had we had all these whip pans we had to do, so I had to have like some sort of motion where it would kind of do that and then flick off a lot of the time. There was a lot of like these kind of Steadicam, like rough Steadicam shots, but they weren't like, it was just a 5D on a pole basically. That's all it was. yeah, that's all we had. It was just me, and I was doing audio, I was doing everything, so it was pretty rough.
What did you do for lighting?
Lighting, we just had a reflector. we didn't like, yeah. Oh, actually, no, that's not true. We had a big reflector, and we had a, what do you call it? I just called it a cannon. This cannon light, and it's like a big, huge pole, and it just booms out this big. You're supposed to use it for backlight, but we were using it because we were shooting a lot in the daylight. They had these masks, and we had to try and shoot through so you could see their eyes. So we were using the reflector, and it wasn't working. So we just get this shotgun light thing, and we had it on these massive big batteries, like portable batteries, and we just shoot these lights. And so it was burning their eyes, or probably burning their retinas out or something. And but it was cool. So they'd throw the mask on, and then they'd have like these cool, it was cool. The jittery look in the trailer we just shot it at like 1/2500. Like we didn't have ND filters when we shot that, so that's kind of how that jittery kind of look in. And then that mixed with like the rolling shutter effect makes it pretty manic there. So yeah.
So in that regard, the 5D was the perfect camera for the job.
Yeah, the 5D was the perfect camera for that job. That's right.
Awesome. That's the same thing they did in 28 Days Later.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They just shot on the XL1 standard definition
Really?
camera and rolled it up to, I think it was like 2500 as well.
Really?
Yeah.
It's crazy. After the trailer, what happened was Kia edited it. The director edited it, and then we just had a big viewing with all the cast and crew, because just to like get everyone psyched. And then he pumped everybody up, and he said, hey, like he wants to make this into a feature film, and everyone was pretty stoked. And then I think that's when it started to really snowball from there, because people saw it, and then it went on YouTube, and then people realized that like there was this team that was pretty serious about something. And so that's when kind of I think the fire started to catch. Yeah. The next step in Wyrmwood as becoming a feature, I think, was the guys organised a few weekends to shoot, and there was a few parts of the script that were ready to be shot, and so we just all got together, I think the same crew plus maybe a few more, and we just shot those parts of the script, and then that gradually happened over time. But because everyone was just doing it on their own time, we kind of shot it on weekends and holidays, and there was a lot of like 3-day weekends that people took their time to take off and do the shoots. And that just happened over the next like couple of years, basically. Shooting Wyrmwood, we started off on a 5D Mark II, and I think we had a Canon 1D Mark IV as well. We did a few shots on that, but we started off on the Canon DSLRs, and that was fine because that's all we had. A bit later on board, we got a sponsor with Digital Logic, and they gave us. They really liked the project, and so they said, hey, you can kind of, let's work together, let's do something. And so we kind of got a lot of access to their equipment and what they had, and they helped us out with things like we shot on things like from C100 to C300 to an FS700 Sony to a Red Epic to the Scarlett. Like we just kind of got anything we could get, because we had so many scenes to shoot and we didn't have much time, and we were like, well, we ran like 3 or 4 cameras at a time, and sometimes it'd be a 5D, and then in the same shot would be like an Epic. So that was kind of interesting. Technically using the 5D, we shot cine style, so that gave us the most out of the sensor. And then we were just really trying to control hotspots, definitely. Yeah, we use a lot of diffusers to like in the hot sun, It was bright, burning right outside. We just had these massive diffusers trying to like make sure that these guys weren't just like, looks like it was in the middle of the day. Because we were trying to shoot we had these massive schedules to shoot on, and we needed it to look like either morning or afternoon light. So we'd like, so tricky. So we'd have to kind of manipulate the light wherever we could, basically, to get that kind of look. Sometimes we'd be shooting like just on dusk, and it had to look like it was the afternoon. So we'd like brighten things up, and we'd pump up the ISO or whatever like that. So yeah, it was a bit tricky sometimes. Some stuff came out a bit grainier because it was on the 5D, but it was okay. It was manageable. It wasn't the end of the world.
What are your biggest challenges as a DOP on a production like this?
Time. Just time to get shots. It's like if you have 30 seconds and you need to set up a jib arm, like it's tricky. So I don't know, if we could stretch that out to 5 minutes, that would be helpful. There were a few challenges that we faced with using all the different types of cameras, because of all the different specs of the cameras, the dynamic range, the sensors, the crop factors, all these different things. We kind of had issues with that being consistent throughout, but oddly enough, it didn't matter completely. Like you can, in some parts you can definitely see where that's affected, and that's actually happened. But I think we kind of just had to work around it, because we just worked with what we had, with our limited options. Like in an ideal world, you'd have like one camera times, and do like B shots and A shots and stuff like that. But it just kind of wasn't like that. Sometimes you just got to go with it and just see what happens. We still use the reflector a lot outdoors, but then we did bring on a bit of other lighting, like a few like LED panels. I know you don't like that. We used a lot of LED panels, and like these little, big 1x1 LED panels, like these little panels to just light up little specks in here and there. And a couple of scenes we just knocked out the fluoros, and we just used the natural lighting that was there. Threw some lighting through a window or something like that. We used a few like we had to use these, we wanted to get like a mist effect. So we'd use like these kind of smoky, what do you call them? Smoke machines. But like hazers in a few of the scenes as well. Kind of get this haze kind of look going through. Kia produced all the storyboards himself. Like he's a pretty good artist, so he drew all them. So I'd kind of look at the storyboards and get like the frame of reference to see what it needed to look like. And we kind of went with like a pretty basic technique of just making sure all the subjects were really, really well lit and their eyes were popping. That was kind of a really big thing. And then try to, just the general bit of key light, bit of backlight. And we were using a lot of red and blue filters for the lights as well, like the Lee filters as well. So that was kind of going around, yeah. We used this light called an ice light, which was really good for getting pop in the eyes. So it was kind of like this little bar thing, and you could just kind of like raise it. Like we'd use it when we were doing like tight shots, like 85 mils or something. You could use this bar and just like throw like even really soft light over the faces, and that was pretty nice to do that. But then other than that, we just use LEDs for backlight and to pop behind the side and stuff. Sometimes we didn't have any, like we'd have like maybe one light. So it was kind of like whatever we could get, basically. I think the pole thing is still pretty good. I got that off some German site. This guy, who was from Israel, actually. Two different places. And he designed that pole thing. That was like the first rig I think I ever looked at. I looked at like a billion, heaps of them. And that one just seemed to be really, really run and gun, because I'd never ever done anything that wasn't run and gun. So that was like rig thing over the back of my shoulder, and then this pole to keep it a bit steady. I think that thing's still good. Like, I wouldn't use it right now because it's no, I'd still use it. The Steadicam is great. You can get some really good shots with that thing. It's bulky as hell. But I would rather use that than, like, say, a Movi or something like that, because you don't need batteries for it. So when you're in the middle of a forest and you've got one generator for like 40 people, and like, you're not going to charge batteries. Like, we would go on set with like as many batteries as possible. We had one charger set up. So that's why I like that setup. As well as that, you can kind of dance with it as well a bit. And it sounds so wanky. I love tripod shots. I love a steady shot. I think that's why, I think I would rather a steady shot now. Really well composed steady shot. Steady shots, I think, are really good if you're doing stuff with a lot of like a really blurred out background. It's kind of always good to have, if you're doing it on a tripod or a track, or if you have a jib or something like that, that's always good for with a lot of blur in the background. I found the favourite piece of kit is probably the lightest thing I can get. In saying that, in terms of like a camera and like lenses, I really love the Sony f55. I think that's a killer camera. You can shoot fast, slow, do anything. And lenses, I really love the Zeiss compact primes. They're really good. I really like them. There were no mistakes. We had a few problems with corrupt cards. Some of the cards we lost a little bit of footage, unfortunately. That was a problem. We shot a lot of stuff in like 0-degree temperatures. It's funny because the film is it's a really hot film, so everything is meant to be like 30 degrees. So like all the camera guys and all the team, like we were shooting with like these like thermal layered jackets, like really, really thick jackets. And like I was in a snow jacket most of the time, like covering my face and stuff. And the batteries, because of the cold temperatures, they would just turn off, which is really crazy. So you didn't know if you're going to get the whole take, because they were like proper branded batteries, but they would just cut out sometimes. We later found out at like apparently really cold temperatures. This is like sometimes I feel like it was like -1, -2 degrees. That was crazy. That was really crazy. But yeah, and just mud, like mud everywhere. Like there was always mud and dirt and grime. And trying to keep cameras clean, lenses clean, blood splatters off the lenses. Like every shot was like, okay, we're going to explode a camera. We're going to explode a head here. You have to stand in front of the head. Like I was like, oh, okay. But I think it was worth it, like to get the shot. So yeah, it was interesting. There were a lot of tight spaces. Like we were shooting a lot in this moving vehicle, which was like the main hero vehicle. And one time, one of the zombies, he ran on the roof and then kind of jumped over through this porthole in the top. And like it was dark, it was like a bit eerie and stuff. I didn't know he was coming. I just was like, yeah, I'm just gonna shoot and whip up. And I was whipping up. I thought I was gonna see the one of our hero characters come through, but then it was a zombie that came through, and it just gnarled all his blood at me, and I was like, ah, crap. It took like almost 3 years of weekends, so like we'd have like a bit of a gap between each weekend, but yeah, it was probably around 3 years. I was kind of working full time, so I'd kind of just have to take a couple of days off and then come to work and and have a bunch of coffees and then get back into it. But there was a lot of rest in between, so it was okay. But a lot of the crew gave up a lot of time to do it, so there was a lot of times where it was pretty tricky. I mean, I'm still waiting to see it in the cinema. They're my thoughts. I just want to see it like done. Like I just want to sit in the cinema with my popcorn and like a Slurpee and watch the film. That would be great. I mean, it would have been cool if we had a bit more time for a few shots. I think you can always probably improve on your shot, especially because it's for a film. You want it to make it like ace every shot, but you just can't. You just got to get it. Just try and get it to the line to, I guess, tell the story and make sure everything's like well composed, lighting, camera framing and stuff like that. I think if I was approaching it again tomorrow, I'd use way more soft lighting. So maybe a lot more Kino banks on things. Because sometimes it was a bit harsh and we didn't have much control over that other than say what do you call it, like one of those soft paper things or whatever, to like kind of soften things down. But but if I was doing it tomorrow, I think I'd use a lot of the same kind of techniques, like the 3-point lighting or whatever. I guess if it was a new project, I would definitely choose one camera, and if I could get 2 of them, that'd be great. Well, from my experience in Wyrmwood, I think it doesn't really matter what camera you use, because in the end, you're just trying to tell the story and you just do it as best as you can. In saying that, it is kind of good to have one particular style of camera to keep things consistent. Not everyone is going to pick up on that, but it's kind of a nice thing to have it as a really consistent package for the film. But yeah, I mean, if we had the same budget and resource again, like you could just manage. You could manage with whatever you got. I think like before Wyrmwood, I think I'm still learning. Like I'm always learning every day. I think before Wyrmwood, I wish I knew a few things that I've picked up now, like through the shoot. But in saying that, like the experience that I got from working on the set, like run and gun, having limited resource and all that kind of stuff really helped to, I think, to improve skill sets and such. And just working with teams as well. That was kind of a big thing. Like I found that if like I could work with the team and the team around me could help me as well so I'm not just doing it by myself, I was doing it with the team, which is pretty important, like very, very important actually. Having to work on some more films, that's it's kind of the main thing. But I love anything creative, high energy, and some complex shots are always good. Yeah, Wyrmwood was a really great experience and I had heaps of fun, learnt stacks, met heaps of great people, and yeah, I can't wait to do the next one.